a long time coming for me personally, to see where we take the church forward. I suppose that growing young for me is about the future of the church. We are the present and the past, but we need to bring on the future. And to me, that's what growing young is about.
So I think the Growing Young process is fantastic overall, and I think one of the things that I like best about it is that it's a great balance between being a guided process, an experience-led process, and with so much expertise as well. So finding that aspect of it, but at the same time it's balanced with plenty of room for a church's own unique situation and for collaboration both within churches themselves.
And the process takes you from one place to another place to then another place, and I think the fact that it's over a long period of time allows that process to be really gentle, but for movement forward. So yeah. For us as a church, it's allowed us to create a set of values and a kind of ethos that everything is grounded in from there on. So the principles around the Growing Project have become the principles that we now adopt as a church, so that all our decision making, all the decision making that we make has to be in line with the principles through the Growing Project, such as how is this decision being a good neighbour, how is this decision empowering young people. So it allows us to frame everything in a way that seeks growth.
In the congregation, what kind of things matter to you, and finding things out from that. For example, bringing back the newsletter, a little magazine came out of the Listening Project, and that's just been really greatly received, and it also means all the different parts of the church are getting to see what's going on. It really connects people, and that's been a really good outcome. Another thing that's been good is having the Sunday school being able to be more integrated with the church. We've all been together on things like that, and things like joining in corporately with events such as Easter and Harvest and Remembrance Day, bringing in their own ideas and their own crafts and their own art design has been a really good way of really bringing in that key chain leadership, of bringing the younger folk into not just participating but really actively getting their ideas across and working together with the broader church.
One of the very good benefits as well is that sense of building networks with local churches and that sense of solidarity in a process that can be somewhat daunting. So I think that's another good benefit. Yeah.
For us, I would say it's been a really helpful thing to do. It's been really useful. It's been really empowering. I would strongly recommend other churches take it on, because it just allows for those conversations. It allows for dreaming. It allows for beginning to imagine. I think we found that having a team of folk with a variety of experiences to input, rather than just the Kirk session or rather than just the minister, to have a team of folk who were committed to the growth of the church, to guide and lead some conversations and see change, was really useful. And the Listening Project was so helpful in being able to support the changes that we wanted to make. So the changes we were making weren't for the sake of it, but it was as a result of what we had heard and what we'd listened to. And I think the church isn't always brilliant at listening, and so being able to take that really specific time of listening, what are young people saying, what are people in the fringes of the church saying, and allowing that to impact how we move forward was really important. We changed the name from Growing Young to the Growing Project because we felt it was quite important to recognise that this is about growth in all ways of the church. not just about getting young people in, but this is about growing our faith, about growing our community links, about growing in all sorts of ways. And the Growing Project felt a much better name for us, and the project allows Growing Young, allows for that adaptation and flexibility so that everything gets to have a context and adapt to the context that you're in.
So I think one of the most important impacts for me is something that's not sort of easy to define or quantify, but it's this sense of a sort of shifting mindset. And I think just even the Growing Project being around and being talked about and so on has led to maybe somewhat of a shifting mindset within the culture of the church in terms of how things can be approached. So things don't necessarily have to be an official Growing Project or Growing Young Project activity, but you see this sense of how can we make something intergenerational. So a few of my favourite examples are, a lighting the candle at the beginning of the service, which celebrates birthdays, young and old. There was a sort of intergenerational craft session for Remembrance Day. And also the prayer room that was put in place for Easter had, just was a wonderful space for all ages. Things like that aren't necessarily, they don't even, there may be no conscious association with the Growing Young Project, but they're just things that are just really embracing of all ages.
Thank you. And what would you say to other churches interested in doing the Growing Young process?
I think it's fantastic. When I've been on holiday or visiting other places and gone to services in other parts of Scotland, it's amazing how when you listen to sermons and so on and conversations in churches, you can see that there is just a general sense of being daunted by these issues.
And then finally, what would you say to other churches interested in doing the Growing Young process?
Oh, it's quite easy, go for it. You have nothing to lose. If you feel your church needs to grow and grow younger, then it's better to take a programme that's been tried and tested and to mould it to your needs rather than try to rewrite the script yourself. Absolutely nothing to lose. Go for it.